An agreement for Qatar to purchase $42 billion worth of the finest American military hardware, including THAAD missile batteries, Pegasus refueling aircraft, Desert Vipers, light armored vehicles, amphibious combat vehicles, the MQ-9B, and the Sky Guardian drones. That's all the best stuff.
Moments ago, President Trump speaking for about an hour, celebrating America's major economic wins on his trip so far, while addressing our military soldiers, men and women in Qatar. Special Assistant to the President, Harrison Fields, helped chart the trip and joins us now to give some perspective. First off, your sense of the president and what he was trying to get across to the men and women at the airbase just now.
Well, good morning, Brian. And the one thing he mentioned in his speech was this is a historic visit, but one of the things he was looking most forward to was speaking to our men and women at that air base, the best among us who are committing their lives to protecting and defending our United States of America. And we just celebrated military spouses. There's about thousands of military spouses from that base that are waiting for their loved ones to come home. And we also saw the shout out that we had spouses serving together at that base, a testament to the greatness of this country. And the president, as commander in chief, was just grateful to be able to speak to the men and women at that base today.
There's a report out today, Harris, maybe you could help us with it, that Steve Witkoff submitted a proposal to the Iranians who are taking it back to the Grand Ayatollah that says that this is what it needs to relieve sanctions. Essentially, enrichment is going to get down to a level that would allow them to enrich, but not at weapons grade. From what you know, do you think this reporting is accurate, that we would allow them to enrich uranium in their country in any type of deal?
Yeah, I would caution any reporter out there, especially NBC, to report on half-baked news that talks about high-stake negotiations. We're not going to litigate this in the press, obviously. We're going to continue to do this behind closed doors. And the President, Special Envoy Witkoff, Secretary of State Marco Rubio have been very clear. Under this administration, Iran will never, and I will repeat, will never achieve a nuclear weapon. This is something that would be devastating, not just the United States and our great ally Israel, but for the entire world. And Special Envoy Witkoff is a friend of Israel. President Trump is a friend of Israel. Secretary of State is a friend of Israel. And we understand the implications of a nuclear Iran, not something that will happen with this administration.
Understood. A lot of people point, by the way, we're seeing the president, these are live pictures of him. He's going to be set to hop on Air Force One and go over to the UAE shortly. He's about a half hour behind schedule, but obviously it's loose. It's built in for the president to zig and zag. He's got 4 days, first overseas trip. Remarkable success, especially when you consider the speeches, the reception, and the business deals he's walking back with. And in fact, we'll split the screen with that, and we have Harrison with us right now. Harrison, the one thing that we were not sure about that the president decided on, and he's decided to meet with the interim leader of Syria as they try to transition from the Assad government. Can you give us an idea of what relations are like now? Because we've agreed to relieve sanctions and gave them a list of demands in order for them to abide by for us to continue to keep sanctions off.
Yeah, it was one of the historic moments of this tremendous trip in which you had the president meeting with the new leader of Syria, which goes to tell you that the president wants something to change in this region. This is a region often overlooked. They just throw money at this region and look the other way. And what do? You see blood all over the sands. The president wants to make sure that we bring economic partnership and prosperity to the Middle East. If we do that, you're going to see peace flourish throughout the entire world. By talking to the Syrian leader, the president wants to extend a hand out to say, I am willing to work with you if you're willing to work with us. We, of course, are going to be maintaining our peace through strength objectives here when it comes to our foreign policy. But this was a historic first step to make sure that we can give Syria a chance to change decades, if not centuries, of struggles in that country. And the president is here to make sure that we establish peace across the globe.
It's a tough move because, 18 months ago, we had a bounty on his head. He's one of the founding members of al-Nusra, a form of al-Qaeda, Islamic extremism. But on the recommendation of the Saudi king, as well as Qatar, he said, why don't you relieve some sanctions and give this government a shot? So it's not without risk. Would you agree?
There's always going to be a risk. This is, foreign policy. It gets difficult. But this president is going to make sure that the national security of the United States and of our allies are going to be of utmost importance. But if you also look at some of our allies, a lot of the Europeans have also taken this risk when it comes to Syria as well. So we're going to trust and verify. We're going to make sure that the Syrians, as well as all the other people in that region, are acting in accordance to what they should be doing. And another thing that President Trump did when he went to Saudi Arabia is he encouraged them to join the historic Abraham Accords that he passed in his first term. This is what he wants. He wants peace and prosperity. It's economic diplomacy, and it's going to work not just for the region, but for the United States of America.
Real quick, it's so many balls are in the air, but we watched Zelensky about an hour ago land on the tarmac in Turkey. He was there because President Putin says, let's have one-on-one talks. It looks like they called his bluff, and it doesn't look like Putin showing up. He's not even sending his foreign minister. Is that a personal affront to President Trump, who recommended Zelensky go?
It would be a disappointing development, there's no doubt about it, but the president has been rock solid in his commitment to bringing peace. He's talked to both leaders many times. He's had Zelensky at the White House. He's spoken to Putin. He wants this war to end once and for all. But we also have to remember how we got here. We had an incompetent president in Joe Biden who allowed this war to happen. This war would have never happened if President Trump was our 46th president of the United States. When President Trump was in his first term, he gave the Ukrainians javelins. When Obama gave them pillows and blankets. President Trump has been there by Ukraine's side. So we have to end this war. That's the president's commitment.
Marco Rubio's there to represent us, too, along with General Kellogg. Harrison holding down the fort in Washington while a lot of the delegations on the Middle East trip. Harrison, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.